From a personal point of view, two. One was the second test match at Manchester in 1936.
With a career that spanned over 2 decades, Vijay Hazare's statistics, while impressive, don't fully capture the depth of his skill. The legend introduced a style of play that became a blueprint for future generations of cricketers. Widely regarded as one of the greatest players to represent India, Hazare was the first Indian to score 1,000 test runs, the first to reach 50 centuries in first-class cricket, and one of the few to score centuries in 3 consecutive matches.
And remaining unbeaten in both the innings which were completed once.
Though his final match occurred decades ago, and many today didn't witness his brilliance firsthand, he is still revered. So just how good was Vijay Hazare? Cricket has long been a national symbol in India. In the 1940s, when India was on the cusp of independence, the game had the young masses going. Boys were expected to be seen on every corner and street, showing how good they were. Among those boys was the young Vijay Hazare, who was already destined from the stars to become one of India's greatest cricketers.
From a personal point of view, two. One was the second test match at Manchester in 1930.
Born in 1915 as one of 8 children, Hazare grew up in a Marathi Christian family in Sangli, part of the Bombay Presidency during British India. His father was a school teacher, giving Hazare access to a sports curriculum and an idealistic field that would help the then-young Hazare dream big and fall more in love with cricket. Then, at home, the youngster played in his mother's courtyard. These early years separated Hazare from other children on the streets, and immediately after school, he started chasing his dreams. He started as a medium-paced bowler who could bowl leg spin, quickly making a name for himself as a prodigy schoolboy cricketer at Sangli High School. In the 1934-1935 season, when the Ranji Trophy was launched as India's national cricket championship, Hazare debuted for Maharashtra. At that time, he was also working for Maharaja Vikram Singh of Dewas, a man who played a key role in shaping his career. Surprisingly, Hazare's employer was well connected. As fate would have it, the legendary Australian leg spinner Clary Grimmett was left out of the Australian national team and became available for coaching. Raja Saheb of Jath, a relative of Hazare's employer, invited Grimmett to teach the googly,
out of a total of about 270. And in the second innings, again opening the innings, when the last man got out, I was not out.
And that was how Hazare was sent to learn from the master. Grimmett bowled to Hazare with a tennis ball and gave him tips on perfecting his defense, including how important a solid defense was to his technique. The soon-to-be Indian legend was very studious and even asked Grimmett if he should add the googly to his bowling skills, but the wise leg spinner advised him to focus on batting instead. After years of perfecting Grimmett's lesson, Hazare's breakthrough came in 1940, when he made a major impact in domestic cricket by scoring a magnificent 316 for Maharashtra against Baroda, the beginning of a remarkable career.
But to lower these feats came along Vijay Hazare, who at Adelaide in 1948 recorded 100 in each innings of a test.
Even though he lacked professional training like most European athletes, he was able to make records that still stand today. He recorded 2192 runs in 30 test matches with a batting average of 47.65. Those test records were impressive. His first-class record is even more mind-blowing, with a batting average of 58.38 for his 18,740 runs. Hazare also notched 60 first-class centuries, including 7 in test matches, becoming the 4th highest Indian century maker of his time. The icon recorded 10 double centuries in first-class cricket, 6 of which came during World War II. Fun fact, India was the only test-playing nation that continued its domestic first-class competitions without interruption during the war. To cap it up, Hazare claimed 595 first-class wickets, including 19 in tests, with a bowling average of 24.61. While the famous Vijay Merchant was India's first opener and arguably one of the best ever, Vijay Hazare was the vanguard of a long line of middle-order masters. Both men were opposites in character, but their personas converged in their phenomenal appetite for tall scores. The two men turned the competition from their opponents to themselves as they entered a rat race to break each other's records, and their match-off was epic.
And in 1936 at Old Trafford, Vijay Merchant hit 100 and shared in a match-saving partnership of 203 with Mushtaq Ali, who too got 100.
During the 1941 to 1942 Bombay Pentangular Tournament, the Hindus and Muslims teams went head-to-head. In that tournament, Merchant scored a remarkable 243 runs, claiming the record for the highest score by an Indian in first-class cricket. Normally, this record was meant to last at least a decade, but just a year later, Hazare outdid it. In the 1943 championship, the introverted Vijay scored 248 runs for the rest team against the Muslims, surpassing the year-old record with just 5 runs. Fired by the challenge, Merchant, representing the Hindus, went head-on into the finals against the rest. The squad depth of the Hindus was unmatched, as they had 10 current and future test players like Ranga Sohoni, Vinu Mankad, and Himu Adhikar, while Hazare was all that the rest had. Batting first, the Hindus scored a ridiculous total of 581 runs for the loss of 5 wickets. Merchant once again stole the show by scoring an astonishing 250 runs, snatching back his records. Adhikari also made a big century. The only bright spot for the rest was Hazare, who bowled tirelessly for 51 overs, taking 3 wickets but conceding 119 runs. The Hindus continued to dominate as the match progressed into the third day. Nayudu, Sarwate, and Banerjee made life difficult for the rest, leading to a sudden collapse from 103 for 2 to an embarrassing 133. Hazare still scored 59 in a losing effort. In the second innings, things looked dire for the rest as they quickly found themselves at 14 for 2. Hazare stepped up to the challenge, knowing the team faced a heavy defeat. His younger brother Vivek soon joined him, playing his 5th first-class match. A medium pacer used to batting low in the order, Vivek was determined to prove himself. With the formidable spin trio of Sarwate, Mankad, and Nayudu causing trouble, Hazare reminded everyone of how just good he was as he quickly reached his century, hitting 8 boundaries along the way. By the end of the day, he and his brother had put together an impressive partnership of 129 runs. Vijay Hazare scored 125, while Vivek had 14 runs.
But to lower these feats came along Vijay Hazare, who at Adelaide in 1948 recorded 100 in each innings of a test.
Hazare showed how good he was individually. Imagine what it would have been like if he had teammates of the same class as Merchant. Well, he did not need a powerhouse to take down another. The next day, the Hindus' powerful bowling attack, which had overwhelmed the rest days ago, was smashed by the Hazare brothers. In just 2 hours, Hazare doubled a century. Merchant desperately cycled through his best bowlers, Adhikari, Rangnekar, Kishanchan, and even took the ball himself. But Vijay Hazare was unstoppable. Unlike the master batter's calm demeanor, he played with rare aggression that morning, scoring 122 runs before lunch. By then, he was 3 runs away from breaking the 250-run record that Merchant had reclaimed in the first innings. Right after lunch, Hazare smashed past the record, scoring 50 runs in 29 minutes with 6 solid boundaries. The scoreboard kept ticking as he soared to 360 runs. Finally, Vivek edged a ball from Nayudu and was caught by Merchant. The youngest Vijay on the field had made 21 runs, matching his best. Together, the brothers had put on a partnership of exactly 300 runs, with Hazare contributing an enormous 266 runs. Merchant's win had relieved the Hindus, but Hazare wasn't done yet. Just 2 runs later, Alaska Balarao was trapped leg before by Nayudu, marking Nayudu's 300th first-class wicket. After that, wickets began to tumble quickly, as Jacob Harris and Captain Pierre Davoine were dismissed in short order. Hazare now stood with the last man, Jay Roach. Sensing the end of the innings, Hazare decided to go for glory. He sent one of Sarwat's deliveries sailing into the stands with an effortless 6. Soon after, he reached his triple century, 300 runs in 405 minutes. With 31 fours and that stunning six, after spending 417 minutes at the crease, Vijay Hazare walked off, having scored 309 runs, with 32 boundaries and a six. He had single-handedly carried the team, contributing 79.84% of their total score. His teammates had managed only 78 runs combined. Despite his heroic efforts, the rest ultimately lost the match by an innings and 61 runs. Despite his success in the Pentangular and Ranji Trophy, many still needed to see if Hazare was ready for Test cricket. As usual, he remained calm about the topic and made no comment until the 1947-1948 Adelaide Test. His skills hushed doubters. Australia was the perfect team to go head-to-head against. The team looked strong with fine bowlers like Ray Lindwall, Keith Miller, Ernie Toshak, Colin McCool, and Ian Johnson. Still, Vijay Hazare delivered two unforgettable innings, scoring 116 and 145. Not only did he dominate with his bat, but he also played a major role in dismissing the legendary Don Bradman twice. The Adelaide Test was just what Hazare needed to cement his name in his nation's record books. He did all this without knowing how to be in a proper and effective stance.
Here is the first of Pataudi's two sixers.
He normally placed his hands far apart on the bat handle, and his weight leaned heavily forward. Yet, with this unusual technique, he was known for easily handling fast bowlers. Having been exceptional and the people's favorite, Hazare was appointed captain of the Indian cricket team for the 1951-1952 series against England. At first, his performance didn't show any signs of decline. In fact, in the Delhi Test, he scored a superb 164 not out, competing with Merchant. In the next match at Brabourne Stadium, he recorded 155 after taking 15 minutes to decide to bat first upon winning the toss. However, during the second day of play, a short-pitch delivery from Fred Ridgway struck Hazare on the forehead, causing a deep cut. Even though he wanted to retire hurt, team manager C.K. Nayudu insisted he continue. That blow seemed to shake Hazare's confidence, and his batting form dipped in the remaining matches of the series. Despite this, the series ended on a high note with India's historic first Test win at Chepauk, breaking a nearly 20-year drought, and Hazare was the captain who led the team to that landmark victory. Unfortunately, Hazare's captaincy was soon tested during India's disastrous tour of England in 1952. The team faced the fierce pace of Freddie Truman and suffered a crushing 3-0 defeat, barely avoiding a complete whitewash thanks to rain at the Oval. Despite the team's struggles, Hazare performed well, scoring 89, 56, 69 not out, and 49, finishing with 333 runs at an average of 55.50. Time and again, he came to the crease when the team was in deep trouble, with scores like 42 for 3 and famously 0 for 4 when he walked in. Hazare finished the tour with 1,077 runs and even took 7 wickets for 50 runs against Middlesex, including 3 in 4 balls. However, his leadership didn't inspire the same level of performance from his teammates. The captaincy was a mistake and the beginning of the end. After stepping down as captain, Hazare returned to what he did best, scoring big runs. When Pakistan toured India, he again proved his class, scoring a solid 76 in Delhi and a remarkable 146 not out at his favorite ground, Brabourne Stadium, despite the challenging pitch. By November 1952, based on the ICC's retrofitted rankings, Hazare was ranked the second-best batsman in the world, just behind Len Hutton. History repeated itself again when Hazare was handed the captaincy for the 1952 to 1953 tour of the West Indies. While the Indian team lost only 1 out of 5 tests, Hazare struggled with the bat. He managed to pass 50 only once in 10 innings. The pressure was too much for him, so he announced his retirement from Test cricket upon his return to India. However, he continued playing first-class cricket for several more years, although his appearances became increasingly rare. Hazare finally retired from all forms of cricket in 1967 at 52. In recognition of his contribution to Indian cricket, Hazare was awarded the Padma Shri in 1960. India's national one-day cricket championship was renamed the Vijay Hazare Trophy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on our next cricket insights. See you in the next video. Bye for now.